Beyond the Mic with Sean Dillon.
We're joined on the Starline by a woman whose life as a forensic and medical legal death investigator in the investigation of 5,500 death scenes and 680 homicides turned into what the dead know. Her middle initial should be F, but you're going to have to read the book to find out why. We welcome Barbara Butcher.
Thank you so much, Sean. Yeah, I don't think I can say that on air, but you'll see in the book why it is Barbara F. Butcher.
Barbara, let's go beyond the mic. Your life was one happenstance to another. How did your life as a death investigator helping others help you?
That's a good question. Wow. I hadn't thought about that. It helped. Well, first of all, it gave me a purpose. It was remarkable how I could have so much fun investigating deaths, hanging out with cops, seeing things that no one had ever seen before, or rarely, and exploring all of New York. While at the same time, I got to help families who wanted answers about how their loved ones died, and I got to do a little justice now and then. I'd help catch a perpetrator and then go to court and testify on the case. That felt extraordinarily satisfying. I'm sad to say, though, that only 60% of the homicides get solved in this country, so though that satisfaction was kind of rare.
Quote, if you lie even one time to a family, everything else you say becomes suspect. What you have is your word, and it should become impeccable, unquote. How difficult was being the representative for families who had lost someone for you?
Oh, it was hideous. It was really, really hard, but I prided myself on doing that well. And the main question was, did he suffer? What happened? And to tell someone, oh, yeah, well, the burns were rather painful and he probably took 3 minutes to die, that's the kind of statement you never want to say to a mother, a father, anyone. But you have to. Now, you can soften it, but you cannot lie. So I would tell them that, yes, the burns were painful and he may have suffered some severe degree of pain for a limited time because he was suffering from smoke inhalation as well, and that made him go unconscious before any, real hideous suffering could take place. So I told the truth.
In your book, you tell a story of an ME who tells you, quote, when you leave here each day, surround yourself with things of beauty. Enjoy nature and art and food and music and love. Just do it and don't skip a day. Seriously, unquote. What was the easiest part of your job and what was the hardest?
The hardest was seeing things like children killed, because, they get killed all the time, or young women or women my age, people I could identify with in some way. I've been a child. I am a woman. I could see that and feel what those people felt in their final moments. I really, really had a hard time with that. So I learned detachment. So that was the most difficult part, was to see that. And then to tell the families, of course, or even just interviewing families. Because don't forget, families are often suspects. So you tread a very thin line there between interviewing someone who may have been the actual killer versus comforting a family member whose loved one just died. That was a tricky tightrope to walk. And then I'd go home and be so miserable from having absorbed all the terror and horror of the day, I'd forget to surround myself with things of beauty. I'd barely eat. I'd just park myself in front of a television and stare at it. Or sometimes I'd go and just get in bed and pull the sheets up over my head.
Author of What the Dead Know, Barbara Butcher joins us beyond the mic for the Rocking 8. It says 8 random questions. Answer with the first thing that comes to your mind. There is no pressure. Worst crime scene smell?
Decomp. A decomposing body is unbearable. It smells something like a strawberry milkshake made with garlic.
Let's change it up. How about a favorite ice cream flavor?
Well, not strawberry.
Favorite John Grisham novel?
John Grisham novel. Oh, God, I've read all of them. I guess the very first one, because it was such a surprise to have a legal thriller.
Best place in Manhattan for a good burger.
Oh, that little, I think it's called The Corner or, the Little Corner Cafe down in the Village.
Other than Dr. Hirsch, what person made the deepest impact on your soul?
Mr. Wells, my driver. Everett Wells was not an educated gentleman or very sophisticated, but he was humble, kind, and a good person through and through.
Barbara, what personality trait of yours gets you into trouble?
Arrogance. I think I know a lot. And then every so often I get slapped in the face with the fact that I don't know jack anything.
Which park is the best in New York?
Best park. I like Prospect Park in Brooklyn.
Barbara, yes or no? Do you still have nightmares from what you've seen in your life?
Yes, but they're daymares. I think about them during the day.
It's time for One Big Question with Barbara Butcher, author of What the Dead Know Beyond the Mic. Quote, dead men do tell tales. You just have to listen, unquote.
Yep.
What's the one thing that was the hardest for you to put into this book?
How I felt after 9/11. The emotions that came up that day and the year and a half that followed, that was really, really hard. That was the hardest time, I think. It made me a little crazy.
Why should people read this book?
Two reasons. One is it's interesting to know, especially if you're a true crime fan, it's interesting to know how the investigation is actually done. But more than that, you should know, and everyone should know, what first responders and last responders like me go through on a day-to-day basis. Cops, firemen, EMTs, medical examiners, what life is like for us when we see horror on a daily basis, 3 and 4 times a day of murder and mayhem. And we need help.
Barbara, where can people find you online?
BarbaraButcherAuthor.com is my website.
She still has daymares, loves everything but strawberry ice cream, and admits her own arrogance. Wanting you to read What the Dead Know, Barbara Butcher. Thanks for taking the time to talk with us today.
Thank you, Sean. It was a fun interview. Stay safe.
And that, my friends, is a Beyond the Mic shortcut.